In this video, I'll be giving you a high-level overview about the liquid objects. Now, liquid objects basically contains attributes to output dynamic content to a page. Now, the things which you cannot do with the out-of-the-box user interface available within the Power Pages Design Studio, you will be able to attain that using liquid programming. Now, example would be like if you want to work on, say, if you want to extract the URL or if you want to extract the page title or the page name, you can do that using liquid objects. There are various liquid objects available within the Power Pages liquid infrastructure, which can allow you to extract or manipulate components within the liquid framework. Now, some of the usages which you can utilize by using the liquid objects are avoiding the cross-site scripting issue by using the escape filter to HTML encode data. So if you use the escape filtering, then you can basically avoiding the cross-site scripting issue. So this is just one example. Like that, there are many liquid objects which you can utilize. So just to give you a summary, there are objects related to entities. Now operates basically on the date time value. Page will give you all the page attribute related components. Params is about parameters. Request is about the request objects. You can extract the settings, you can extract the site markers, snippets from the backend Power Pages site. User object will give you information about the logged in user details like the first name, last name, the ID, those kind of information. Then there are other objects like the blogs, ads, website, web links, articles, categories, polls, language, forum thread, forum post, forums. And then you can also utilize, there is something called as tables or entities. So you can extract information from the backend table using entity list, entity views, and entities. So you can extract the table, you can extract the table content, you can extract the table views, and then you can perform some manipulation operations of the entity views as well. So these are some of the example which you can utilize while working on the liquid objects. Now I'm going to cover some of the items in more depth. So this is just an introductory video. I'll show you how to use the liquid objects within the Power Pages liquid site. Now, just to show you an example, I'm in the Power Pages Design Studio. This is a simple page which I've created named as December. Now, if I want to write some liquid code, I just need to go into the edit code. Over here, it will open the Power Pages interface through which I can write a code. So this is called as a Visual Studio for Web. And then from here, if I want to write the code, then I just put it in double quotes, double braces, and then just type in the object. So now is one of the objects. So if I type in now and just save this and synchronize the site, then it should give me the current date and time. Now here, I'll go to the December page. And once it is synchronized, it should display me the now output. The now output is basically the current date and the current time. So it is giving me that value displayed. Now similarly, I can use other objects as well. So the other object would be a page object. Now in page I can get the page title. Okay, so there are multiple ways through which you can extract the parameter. So let's start writing in a different fashion. So if I just say page, and if I just say page of title, and I will just write one more string over here. I'll just say page, and in single quotes I'll just put title. So I'm just giving you a different syntax variation just to show you what will be the output. So the first one which we have seen for now, this is page dot title, this is page and title, and this is page title. So sometimes while writing code we make mistake, and I'll just show you what output will get generated on basis of this particular syntax. So just sync this again and do a hard refresh. So as you see over here, it has given me December as a page name. So this is the page title, sorry. So this is the page dot title. So it is giving me December. Then page title, it is giving me liquid error. And this one, page in single quotes title, it is giving me December value. So that means this syntax is incorrect. So you cannot use the syntax. If you want to put an attribute, you can just put using a single quote. So I'm going to get rid of this, and this is the correct syntax for extracting the page title. Now apart from title, you can also extract some other components. So I'll just put a curly brace and I'll just say page.id. So page.id will give you the ID of the page. And then there are other attributes which you can utilize to extract the breadcrumbs of the page. So page.breadcrumbs. But then again, you need to use an iteration function to extract the components. I'm not going to write this over here. I'm just going to extract page.id. Similarly, this is for a page object, but then if you want to extract the user object, then you can do the same thing just by putting the curly braces and then just say user dot full name. Or maybe I just want to extract the first name of the user, I'll just say user dot first name. Similarly, if I want to extract the GUID of the user, I'll just say user.id. Or if I want to extract the last name, I'll just say user.last name. So this is how you can basically use an object. Now here, in when I say object or a liquid object, the object over here is user. So user is an object, or the page is an object. So if you see here, this is a page is an object, or now is an object. So these are the different objects. So like that, there are so many objects which you can use. So even you can use an object called as a request object. So you can use request object to get the request, the URL or the query or the path. So how do you write the request object? So you just put in curly braces and you just say request dot URL, or you say request dot query or request dot path, and then that will render the URL of the current request which is being received by the Power Pages site, right? So I'll just save this. So we're going to just see the output of page ID, user first name, user ID, request URL. Just sync it and let it synchronize, and then we'll do a hard refresh and we'll see the output. So similarly, if you go to the documentation here, understanding the liquid objects, so there are so many, there are more than 22 objects available. So there's ads, blocks, entities, entity list, view, and most of the used are entity list, entity views, and entities, because that will allow you to display the backend table of Power Pages. So if you have configured a appropriate permission, then you can render the custom table or inbuilt table like the contacts and accounts. You can render the table, you can render the view, you can render in a paginated fashion. So you can do a whole bunch of things, and even you can render charts, reports as well. So these are the ways through which you can operate on the liquid object. So if I just do a hard refresh on the page, the code which we have written is one is over here. So this is the GUID. Now what is this GUID? This is basically the page ID. Then we have user dot first name. So user dot first name is Girish. So I'm logged in as Girish Uppal. So the first name is Girish. And then I have another GUID which is user ID. So this user ID is again the user ID of in the backend Dataverse system. So this is the user ID DAA705, and the URL, the request URL is this. So this page is basically getting requested over here, and that's why you can see the request URL listed over here. So similarly, I can work on log, I can work on page, I can work on settings, sitemap. So there is a way through which you can even extract the settings, site markers, and snippets component. Okay, so just give you an example. So snippets. Now, what is the snippets? So snippets. So there are a couple of snippets. So I can see that there is snippets of header, snippets of footer. So how do we extract the snippets? So let me show you first the table. So if I navigate to Power Pages Management, which is the backend site for hosting the entire Power Pages infrastructure. So here I have something called as site settings or site markers, or I have something called as a content snippet. So In snippets I have something called as footer. So if I go to the proper website, so my website name is Philadelphia, so if I filter that out, and I'll see a lot of components over here. So if I go into the footer component, so you see footer component has this p tag span copyright, and then it displays the liquid code over here with the now variable, right? Now what we can do, we can extract this entire component. Now how do you extract this? So we know this is a snippet, so we know the code from here, snippets, right? So if we write a liquid code and then call this footer component, then it should render that item. So just put that code over here, and we'll just say snippets. Snippets of what? Snippets of footer. So the name is footer. Just save this and sync. So what we're doing is, like, we have gone into the backend, we have taken into the content snippets, and then from here content snippet for that specific site, we have taken the one content snippet which is a footer, and we are trying to extract the component or the value, the basically the HTML. So basically it contains an HTML. Now as you see over here, it has extracted the HTML, it has interpreted the liquid code which has given you the current year. Now how this current year is generated? Because this snippet has a code, right? If you see here, the snippet has a code now, and it says date colon YYY, so that will give you the current date year, and that's why it is showing 2024. And it extracted the component, it has taken that p tag and it has rendered that component. So this is how you can extract the snippet component. Similarly, you can extract the settings component, site markers component, navigational component. All these things can be extracted. So this is all about liquid object. I'm going to cover some of the objects in more depth in my upcoming videos. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching.